let us now look ahead to this weekend's very nice UFC Fight Night card. UFC Fight Night Holloway versus the Korean Zombie. Going down in Singapore at the Singapore Indoor Stadium on Saturday, August 26th. Before we get to the, I believe, 5 fights that we're going to talk about from this card, are there any other fights or fighters that are on this card that you guys want to quickly spotlight for our viewers and listeners?
You go first, Mark.
I got a couple. I will spotlight Rolando Bedoya. Some of you may remember him. He made his debut against Chaos Williams, and a lot of people actually thought he won that fight. It was a really competitive fight against Chaos Williams. He is on the card. He is fighting Kenan Song. And then I will also mention on the main card, who we're not going to do, is Rinya Nakamura, who is a very legit prospect in my mind. I see that he's minus 800 in this fight against Fernie Garcia.
Holy shit.
So it seems like the bookies agree. Dude's a knockout artist, 3 straight first-round knockouts. Could be 4 in this one. But, yeah, I would say do not miss his fight. He's an interesting fighter for sure.
Oh, I didn't realize these road to UFC fights were on their record. This is not like tough.
I think I knew that. I can't remember.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember if I knew that or not.
Interesting. I have a couple of ones to look out for. People that I'm personally going to be looking out for. Sungwoo Choi is opening up the card against Jarno Aarons. I do like Sungwoo Choi. The dude's got some hands for sure. He's got a bad habit of getting hit a little more than he needs to, so sometimes it doesn't always work out for him. But I do enjoy watching Sungwoo Choi fight. And then we also have Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's fighting on that card as well. He recently lost against Marcos Rogerio de Lima, but before that, put on a couple of decent performances. Nothing necessarily to scream home about, but the man's got a lot of power in his hands, so he's always interesting. And then, of course, we have the Tafa, the older Tafa brother, in Junior Tafa fighting Parker Porter. I enjoy a good Tafa fight. I'm here for it.
Hey, man.
Isn't Junior the younger Tafa brother?
Justin Tafa is the older one. You're right.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, Junior looks much younger.
They look exactly the same.
No, they don't.
They look
Racist.
exactly the same.
No, they don't.
Racist.
Oh, he's only 3 years younger. But, yeah, Junior is younger. And no, they don't.
Identical.
Justin looks much more of like that typical Samoan facial structure. I feel like Junior is more, what's the word I want to say? Like lean. It's not the word I want to say, but more like that.
Yeah, he's a little less Mark Hunt in the face, I guess.
There you go. That's what I'm going for. You put it perfectly.
Okay. Let us first look at this middleweight bout between Chidi Njokuani and Michal Oleksiejczuk. So, Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani, the 34-year-old out of Las Vegas, 22-9, 14 knockouts on his record. Very much looking to get back in the win column after back-to-back losses to Hobocop and Albert Jurayev. By the way, Hobocop is just his name now. Michal Oleksiejczuk, the 28-year-old out of Barki, Poland. He is 18-6 with 13 knockouts on his record. Also looking to get back in the win column after losing to Caio Baralho back in April. Mark, start us off. Give us your take and your pick.
Sorry, I'm distracted because I was watching the end of Burgos and Collard. These boys are fucking scrapping. It just ended. I think Collard's going to win a decision from what I'm reading, but wow, they fucking scrapped it out. Anyway, back on topic. Chidi Njokuani and Michal Oleksiejczuk. Basically a pick'em fight. Michal is minus 115. Chidi is minus 105. 3 inches of height and 6 inches of reach on the Chidi Njokuani side. So big size advantages for him. That's a lot. But with that said, Oleksiejczuk is infinitely comfortable in striking exchanges. And he is a former light heavyweight. He's used to being in there with bigger guys. And he has had very few chances to match up with guys who are just going to be 100% willing to strike with him. And I think that's what Chidi's going to be. If anyone looks to wrestle here, I think it might be Oleksiejczuk. So I don't know. I'm really torn. Chidi will be equally excited to match up with the true striker, I think. And the size does matter, and Chidi's power is very big. So it's like, at first glance, I want to go him, but I don't know. As much as I love Chidi, I think Oleksiejczuk's technique may actually be one notch above. I think he can force more phone booth exchanges and slip with more success and find the big shot. So it's going to look dumb if you get this one wrong because one dude's knocking out the other dude, I think, probably. But I'm going to say Oleksiejczuk, round 2 TKO.
Omar.
Yeah, I'm still not ready to pick against Njokuani just yet. I know he's had a little bit of a rough go in the last couple fights. The Hobocop fight, I feel like things like that are going to happen against guys like that, especially when you're striking against them. The Duraev one I thought was a little rough for him, especially there was a lot of ground control in that fight. But I do think that Oleksiejczuk is... I don't think he's there. I don't think that he's somebody that is unbeatable against somebody like Njokuani. So I think if Njokuani finds the chin, I think he'll be able to put him out. This is fully knowing that Oleksiejczuk has only been knocked out once in his career, but I think Njokuani has the striking acumen to get it done. So I'm gonna go with Njokuani here, second round KO.
I gotta go with my guy Chidi Njokuani. I mean, Oleksiejczuk has proven to be a very, very dangerous striker in his own right. But this is more of a fan pick here, guys. I'm going Chidi. I'll say round 1 knockout. Okay, I'm very excited about this one. In fact, I'm sitting up in my chair to talk about this fight. In the women's flyweight division, Erin Blanchfield is stepping up to face Taila Santos, I was about to say the biggest fight of her career, but she did just beat Jessica Andrade. But a huge, huge fight against the cracker in Taila Santos. Here we go. Blanchfield, the 24-year-old out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey. She's 11-1 as a pro, 2 knockouts and 4 submissions. She's riding a 8-fight win streak coming into this Saturday night. Most recently, like I said, defeating the great Jessica Andrade by submission in round 2 back in February. This time, she will be squaring off against a different Brazilian, Taila Santos, the 30-year-old out of Brazil, 19-2 as a pro, with 10 knockouts and another 3 subs added to that. Very badly looking to get right back in the win column after losing her title shot against the great Valentina Shevchenko back in June of last year. Omar, start us off this time. Give us your take and your pick of Blanchfield versus Santos.
Santos is one of these fighters, man, that is very good technically, right? You watch the way that she fights, and she's very, very, very comfortable on the feet. She's also very comfortable on the ground as well. I feel like I keep not giving Blanchfield the benefit of the doubt, and I don't think I'm going to do that in this fight. Blanchfield, I think, has time and time again proved that she's better than what I keep giving her credit for, and I think the Andrade fight is one of those fights that I can't just ignore, right? I think up until that point, the names that she had fought hadn't really given me the confidence that she could take on the elite of the elite. But the fact that she beat Jessica Andrade, combined with the way that she beat Jessica Andrade, gives me way more confidence at this point. So I do think that she could hang with them. I do think that she's on her way to a title shot, and I think she's got to step through Taila Santos to do it, and I think she will. I'm going to go second round submission.
For
Blanchfield.
Okay. Mark?
So pretty close odds here. Blanchfield is favored at minus 150. Taila Santos is plus 125 as the underdog. 2 inches of height for Santos. The reach is the same. And yeah, this pick is not hard for me. Taila Santos, as much as she gave Valentina Shevchenko a tough fight, she's just not someone who I've ever gone all in on. I think she is a top 10 level fighter who has kind of tricked people into thinking she's a title contender, and I just don't think that she is. I understand that sounds a bit harsh. Maybe I'm going to get yelled at in the comments by Brazilian Santos fans. But on the flip side of that, I could not possibly be more impressed with Erin Blanchfield. I think she is going to be better everywhere this fight goes. Her striking is continually improving, and I think that both her wrestling and grappling are a level above that of Taila Santos. I think she wins this fight without a ton of trouble. I will take Erin Blanchfield. I'm very tempted to do it by finish. I know Omar just did, but Taila has never been finished. In fact, her only 2 losses are both by split decision. But I will say this is her first very clear loss. I think it is Erin Blanchfield by a clear UD.
I was just going to make the point that there are only 3 total losses between these 2 women, and all 3 of those losses are split decision losses. So neither of these ladies has ever been beaten soundly. That being said, I'm going to piggyback off of the great points that both of you guys have made. I think that the technique and the striking, especially of Erin Blanchfield, is cleaner and better than that of Taila Santos. I think it'll be the most interesting aspect for me is that Santos possesses quite a bit of strength for 125 pounds. And that is something that Blanchfield has seemingly had the advantage over a number of her opponents, especially in grappling. So it'll be interesting to see Blanchfield against an opponent who could have a strength edge on her. That being said, I'm going to say that technique wins the day here with Erin Blanchfield, and I'm going to say she wins decision, and I'm going to say it's going to be a unanimous decision for Erin Blanchfield. We are unanimous for the Jersey girl.
We are.
Okay, very fun fight here. In the featherweight division, Giga Chikadze going up against Alex Caceres. So Ninja Giga Chikadze, the 34-year-old out of Georgia, the country, 14-3 as an MMA pro. Before that, a long tenured kickboxing record. In his MMA record, out of his 14 wins, 9 have come by way of knockout. And he's very much looking to get back in the win column after suffering his first loss in a while at the hands of Calvin Kattar. I will have to say a beautiful and brilliant game plan from Kattar in that fight, neutralizing a lot of the strengths of Giga Chikadze. We'll see if his new opponent, Alex Caceres, can do the same. Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy, is the 35-year-old fighting out of Miami, Florida. He's 21-13 with 1 no contest. On a little bit of a streak with back-to-back wins coming into this Saturday night. Omar, start us off this time. What are your thoughts of this matchup between Giga Chikadze and Alex Caceres? And please, give us your pick.
First of all, I'm really happy to see Giga Chikadze back. I feel like he's been gone for way too long. Had a lot of good momentum, then got stopped by Calvin Kattar. Or I guess not stopped, but definitely hit a fucking wall against Calvin Kattar.
Yep.
And we haven't seen him since, and that was January of 2022, and we are now August of 2023. So he's been gone for quite some time, so it's good to see him back. He's very, very good at his striking is very, very good. His kicks, I think, are also one of the things that impressed me the most about him. The one thing that as somebody who trains a little bit now, kicking, the way that he kicks, the way that a lot of guys kick when they kick really well, you won't see them kind of come from the outside, right? If you think about it, like a hook almost, guys who throw hooks really wide and really outside are very telegraphed and can kind of, a lot of people can see them coming and things like that. Guys who have shorter hooks will generally tend to land a lot more and are a little bit more difficult to counter at the block. When it comes to the kicks of somebody like Giga Chikadze, and to a certain extent, even Alex Caceres for the most part, their kicks, you'll see them come up and then flip over. And a lot of times it'll end up going underneath the arm, right into the rib cage, right? So it doesn't allow somebody the opportunity to block the way you normally would block a kick. And both of these guys in this fight have that ability. The dexterity they have in their legs with their kicks is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really excited to see who comes out the better of these two. I wouldn't even be surprised if Alex Caceres tries to take this shit to the ground because of how competitive this might end up being on the feet. Or at least trying to take it to the ground. Who knows what could happen. But as much as I love Alex Caceres, and I feel like I keep picking against him unnecessarily at this point, he keeps proving us right, like wrong time and time again. The man has lost like once in the last few years, and he fights quite a bit here. So, fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go with Alex Caceres here. Alex Caceres, unanimous decision. Let's go, baby.
I think Alex Caceres is. I'll go next. His overall pretty well-rounded skill set is what makes his fight interesting, but I do not think that he has the style. One that Calvin Kattar was able to employ. I don't think he has that kind of style to give Giga the fits that Kattar did, and I think this is a Kattar. I think this is a Kattar win right here, man. I think he's going to win by knockout. I'll say round 2. Huh?
A Giga win, you're saying, right?
Yeah, a Giga win.
You said a Kattar win.
Well, I'm an idiot, so I'll say Giga Chikadze round 2 knockout. Mark?
All right, so he's a pretty big favorite. He's minus 250. Caceres is plus 200 as the underdog. 2 inches of height for Giga, only half an inch of reach. And yeah, this is a fun one. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty torn on which way I want to go with it. I think Giga is certainly the guy who can rise to higher ranks in this division. But in this particular matchup, Caceres may be just enough of a high-level striker to hang with Giga while he needs to in order to find a way to wrap him up at some point or take a back or who knows what and change the fight. And if Caceres can get into a grappling situation with Chikadze, he's slick as fuck, and he may be able to get Giga out of there. Now, granted, we haven't seen Giga in ages. You would hope that he's working nonstop on the wrestling and the grappling and all that. So maybe we see a lot of improvement there. And I do think he's the bigger threat to hurt the other when it comes to striking and to possibly find a finish, he being Giga. But, man, this feels like a true coin toss to me. I think it's way closer than the odds suggest, and I never expected to be making this pick when I first saw this fight announced. When I first saw it in my head, I was like, all right, yeah, Giga probably gets that one done. I think I'm going to say Alex somehow finds his way to a back, just in an exchange. Maybe he's even losing the fight, but, like, hanging in it, and some exchange happens, and whether it's a stumble or he grabs hold or he just slips to the side, he's a crafty dude, and I'm going to say he kind of finds it back, and when he's on your back, he knows how to finish fights. I'm going to say round 2 RNC for Alex Caceres.
Wow. Omar, what was your pick for Caceres?
Decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who picked Giga. Wow, that's a little surprising.
To be fair, up until like 10 minutes ago, I was picking Giga Chikadze, so.
Up until today, I was picking Giga Chikadze, so yeah, we're different shades of it.
Yeah.
Converted this morning. Omar converted now. Mike hasn't converted yet.
All right, co-main event in the light heavyweight division, Anthony Lionheart Smith taking on Ryan Superman Spann. Anthony Smith, the 35-year-old out of Omaha, Nebraska, with a record of 36-18, with 19 knockouts and 14 submissions. Only 2 of his victories have gone the distance. He is looking very much to get back in the win column after losing back-to-back fights to Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. Most recently, Johnny Walker back in May of this year. Ryan Spann, his opponent, is the 31-year-old out of Beaumont, Texas, with a record of 21 wins and 8 defeats, with 12 submission victories and another 6 knockout victories on his record. Also looking to get back in the win column after losing to Nikita Krylov back in March of this year. Mark, start us off this time. Give us your take and your pick of this light heavyweight matchup that is sure to feature some fireworks.
So another fight on this card that has close odds. Ryan Spann is favored despite losing the first matchup between the two. He is minus 130. Anthony Smith is plus 110. 1 inch of height and 5.5 inches of reach for Ryan Spann, which is a lot. It's not like Smith is a guy with a short reach, but Spann is just a long dude. It's only been 2 years since the first fight, where Anthony Smith basically ran over Ryan Spann without much trouble. But Smith is 0-2 since then. Spann's 2-1. I guess it's not crazy that we're doing this again already. It does feel a little bit forced to me. And I get it. Like, Smith didn't look great against Walker. Spann has shown signs of being super dangerous. So, all right, I guess we run this thing back. But to me, unless Smith has truly fallen off, I just don't think Spann has advanced to a point where he is beating guys who are this well-rounded. And I guess it's possible that Anthony Smith is done. Like, I'm not going to rule it out completely, but I got to see more before I assume that. And I just think he should be able to hang on the feet. He's notoriously hard to finish, even if he gets hit early. And after Spann's like initial burst of his hot 3 to 5 minutes, I just think Smith kind of takes his fight over. He's still the stronger grappler. He's still the one who's a sub threat. I mean, Spann is too, but not. I don't think Spann's tapping Anthony Smith. And I think Smith is going to tap him again. If Smith sees the end of the first round, I just think this swings pretty far in his favor. So I'm going to say Anthony Smith, round 2 submission.
Yeah, I agree. I think this fight is one made for Anthony Smith to get back in the win column. And I agree. I think Ryan Spann has great power. I mean, he just finished the guy with a jab. That being said, I see Anthony Smith weathering any kind of storm that Spann could throw at him. For some reason, I don't see him getting finished in the first round. And yeah, I like that. I like that pick as well. I think Anthony Smith is going to finish him again. I'll say third round submission this time. Omar?
I'm having a real problem with this one, right? Because I like Ryan Spann a lot, but I think you're also right that Anthony Smith, I think, is probably still just a level above. Even when you do like MMA math, Ryan Spann still falls a bit short here. So as much as I like Ryan Spann, I've believed in him before. I've picked him a number of times. I think I will take the safer pick here, and I think I'm going to go Anthony Smith here. But I think I'm just going to do it by decision. I don't know if he finishes him this time, but I do think he'll be able to finish him. He'll be able to fight through 3 rounds with him as well. So Anthony Smith, unanimous decision.
Okay, main event time. Featherweight division, Max Bless Holloway taking on Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. Max Holloway, really needing no introduction. He's a 31-year-old out of Hawaii, 24-7, 10 knockouts, 2 subs. Most recently scored a UD over the very tough rising Arnold Allen back in April. Former UFC featherweight champion, obviously. Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, 36 years old, out of South Korea. Record stands at 17-7 with 14 finishes, 8 of them submissions. Has not fought since April 2022 with a failed attempt at the featherweight title, losing very badly at the hands of Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Mark, start us off. Give us the odds, your take, and your pick.
The odds are not close for this one. Max Holloway is minus 800. TKZ is plus 550 on the other end. 4 inches of height for Max, but it is a 3-inch reach for Chan Sung Jung. 3-inch reach advantage. Excuse me. He doesn't just have 3 inches of reach. That would be absurd. I am going to say this first to start. There's definitely feelings out there that Korean Zombie is washed, and I get it. But I will say, if we just take a quick look back at his last, I used 6 fights here, starting from the Yair fight. He was beating Yair in that fight pretty clearly. Got finished with a last-second mind-blowing knockout. Then he finished Renato Moicano. Then he finished Frankie Edgar. Then he lost to Brian Ortega, who's an absolute stud. Then he rebounded by beating Dan Ige. And then he lost to Volk, who everyone loses to. So, as much as I don't think he's going to win a title right now, I don't know that washed is the appropriate way to be viewing Chan Sung Jung. He hasn't even lost 2 in a row. So, just wanted to put that out there. But with that aside, I do not think he can beat Max Holloway. Yes, we've established that Max isn't Volk and that he has finally been surpassed as the class of this division, but Max is still Max, and to this point, he's been better than everyone else on the planet that weighs 145 pounds. And I don't think Zombie's the guy to change that. I think Max is faster. I think his footwork is better. I think his angles are better. His hands are more crispy, and I don't see what Zombie has to offer Max that he won't be ready for. As crazy as Zombie can be, he's a little bit more of a straightforward fighter. It's not like he's going to be showing Max angles that he hasn't seen before or presenting new things to him. You know, we know what Zombie is, and I think Max knows what he is. And I think he puts it on him as the fight goes on. I'm debating whether I think it's like a 4th or 5th round finish as damage accumulates, or if it's just a clear decision. But I think I'm going to say it's like really similar to the Volk one. Like another one of those where, you know, Zombie's not quitting, but the ref is kind of like, oh, he's really getting beaten up now. And I think it's going to kind of happen again the same way. I'll say Holloway late 4th round TKO just via accumulation.
Okay, Omar.
Oh, you guys already know, bro. You already know. I hate this fight. I hate it so much. I love Chan Sung Jung. I don't want to see him take any more damage. And I feel like this was probably the worst fight to take in that regard.
Yeah.
Did
you hear his team was against it? Not to cut you off.
I'm fucking anybody with half a brain would be against this shit,
His
man.
whole
Like,
team was like, no, dude, let's get someone else, and he had to be like, this is who I'm fighting.
yeah, I'm not thrilled about it, man. I get it from his competitive standpoint. The dude's a dog. Like, you ain't gonna tell him nothing. I get that, but I do think Max Holloway pieces him up, and I think it's going to be way too easy for him to do so. And it's not to say Chan Sung Jung won't have maybe a couple moments here and there, but I think they'll be very few and far between. And I think Max Holloway ends up finishing him, man. And I really hope we're done after this. I really do. Like, I love Chan Sung Jung, but these performances have not been it, and they have been so far from the Korean Zombie that we all kind of knew, right? I do think it'll be a finish. I think Max Holloway TKOs in round 4.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I totally agree. I was going to say it myself that I think that this could go a lot like how Korean Zombie's fight went with Volk. I think Holloway has the skill set, and it's a style mismatch in favor of Holloway, and I think Holloway is going to drag him into quicksand and just going to gradually overwhelm him with strikes. Or it could kind of look like Holloway's fight with Calvin Kattar. I think Zombie's is going to absorb a lot of damage, a lot of strikes. It could be a late fight TKO. I could easily see that, but I'm going to say it's going to be a dominant, unanimous decision victory for the former champ, Max Holloway.